This is the CBC Broadcast Centre. It's located in downtown Toronto, right across from the CN Tower. The building is 12 stories and more than 1.5 million square feet, or about 140,000 square meters. It's only about 20 years old. Before it was built, CBC employees worked in several different buildings around the city. There are up to 4,000 people that work at the Broadcast Centre. It houses English language radio and television networks, including the main CBC channel, our 24-hour news channel, CBC News Network, Ontario regional and local radio, local television, our website service, cbc.ca, CBC Sports, and a French radio station. I work on the 4th floor, and my first stop on a typical day is the women's dressing room, which I share with 6 other anchors, also called hosts. Each anchor is given a closet in which to keep the clothing we wear on air. We have several makeup artists at the CBC, but I do my own makeup because I work the night shift. The makeup we use is a little heavier than you would wear normally. That's so we're not washed out under the bright light in our studios required for the cameras. The first thing you'll see just outside my dressing room is the entrance to the studio where we broadcast the National. It's kept cool in here primarily for the anchor's comfort, but it's also good for the technical equipment. If you look up, you'll see it takes a lot of lights to provide soft, flat lighting throughout a set. Some of the cameras in our studios are operated robotically, but at the National, each camera has an operator. The host of the National stands at the smaller desk in the studio, and the other larger U-shaped desk is for guests and panels, such as our regular at-issue political panel. On the outskirts of the main newsroom are several edit suites. These are where we cut stories or voiceovers for our news and current affairs shows. It can take about an hour or more to cut a story that's a minute and a half long. And this is the 4th floor newsroom. All of our daily news operations and studios are on this floor, including television, radio, and online. There are signs denoting each area of responsibility, since sometimes even we need direction in such a large newsroom. These people work in what we call resources. They're in charge of booking and bringing in video from around the world by satellite and cable and internet. The National is staffed by about a dozen writers and producers. They decide what stories to include in the show, in which order they should appear, that's called lineup, and they write almost everything the anchor says. Just across from the National are the writers and producers for our online news service, cbc.ca. Tracking and gathering the news across the country is the job of the assignment desk. They decide if a story should be covered, and then how and when to deliver that story to the various news programs at the Broadcast Centre. The rest of the newsroom is packed with people during the day working on the different shows on CBC News Network. This is the broadcast studio for CBC News Now morning and afternoon shows, the business show, the Lang and O'Leary Exchange, and Connect with Mark Kelly. I sit near my broadcast studio and I work with a producer, writer, and an editor. The first thing I do is log on to the CBC News computer system, and this is where I find the script for my news update. I'll read it over and make any changes if necessary, or suggest any other stories I think we should have. This is the studio where I read my news updates at the top of the hour. The first thing I do is put on my earpiece and plug it into a box underneath the desk. I'm now connected to the control room on the 5th floor, and can hear the director and the production assistant, who will tell me when the video for my update is ready, and they will also give me time cues. I operate my own teleprompter, which we also call an auto cue. I control a wheel on this small black box that rolls the script on the camera in front of me. I can see the words, but people watching at home can't. Often we will rehearse an update, and then I'm warned when we just have a few minutes to air. And then 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm on. You're watching CBC News Network. I'm Karen Howerlock. Here's what's making news right now. Mohammed Shafia, his wife, and his son are convicted of murdering 4 members of their family. A judge decided they orchestrated the drowning deaths in 2009 in Kingston, Ontario. Syrian troops retake rebel-controlled suburbs of Damascus. Activists reported outright urban warfare, seeing at least 50 tanks deployed and 19 people killed. Burma's opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi says she'll fight to end political powers the military has under the constitution. She's expected to contest April's by-elections. And South Sudan shuts down oil production. It says none will be exported until a border dispute is resolved with the North. The South separated last July. And that's the latest from CBC News Network.